We all have that wee inner voice, and I think it behooves us to listen to that voice, right? When you're going to do something, when you were a kid, you can jump that bike over that ramp. That wee inner voice says, yeah, I don't know, may want to put the brakes on. But later in life, it can kind of overwhelm you sometimes and make you think you're not good enough. You're not good enough to do X, Y, or Z, or to hold that position you're in, or whatever. That's that inner critic, and sometimes you got to figure out how to get around that thing. Dr. John Braccio will put this into way more professional terms than I can, which is why we have him on with us. Doc Braccio, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good talking to you. And this inner critic is really a pretty big topic, pretty big thing for people. It always amazes me, Mike, how some of the most wonderful and even successful people are constantly being overwhelmed by this inner critic. It constantly tells them they're not good enough, that they should not be trying to do things. And so to simply exist in a world that doesn't allow them to do what they desire and they're capable of. At a common sense, it doesn't make sense that a person would be hindered in life by a seemingly part of them, this inner critic that's constantly stopping them from achieving and doing their best. With this said, countless people are held back in life by this destructive, inner critic, okay? And they're not able to fulfill their dreams, and it's a pretty horrible thing. Now, it's not always easy to identify where the inner critic came from, okay? Safe to say that this inner critic, people grew up in homes where they were shamed, told they were too big for their britches, told they would never amount to anything, were constantly told they were not good enough, were an embarrassment, and told to quit trying, or just told, just don't do this, okay? They generally grew up believing they should not try too hard because failure would be the result, and there'd be more shame from not doing and failing than really as predicted. So there are persons whose inner critic simply questions whatever they're doing, okay? It slows them down. And this inner critic, if you've had it, it can be really destructive. And when the person becomes aware, even when they become aware of it, it's hard to get over it. It's so ingrained within them, okay? Now, what do you do, when you have something
Right.
like this? Well, you have to really work at this. You have to really, make some points that you're just not going to let this, control you and overtake you. Because when you start getting, these statements coming back at you all the time, telling you that, that you don't belong, you don't deserve, quit trying. Well, what you have to do, you've got to say you're going to take control of things. You want to be in control of your dreams, okay? You can talk to some other people and get some views and ask them, because they may say, yeah, you're always putting yourself down and you can't do it. You've got to be compassionate with yourself. You've got to love yourself. You've got to recognize, in spite of any flaws you have, you're a good person. You want to be successful, and you want to crush that inner critic. I've talked before, Mike, many times, that this is a one-time shot, okay, in life. And every minute that we waste allowing this inner critic to control our thinking, it's wasting time. Wasting time we really can't get back. So if we want to be in control of this, well, we just have to make a determination. Rubbish, I'm not going to let these negative thoughts and always holding me back. I'm going to take control of myself. And you can talk to friends, family about this, because often they'll tell you, yeah, you're always putting yourself down, saying you can't do these things, no point in trying. Oh, so you've got to make that determination. You can talk to friends, you can talk to family about it. Eventually you might need a therapist, you might determine. But the main thing in life, if you really want to be in control, you've got to turn that inner critic off. And it's another person, like another person inside you. It can be overwhelming to people, Mike. So my advice is, if there's something always telling you don't do it, you can't do it, and as you really think about it and analyze your life, that, boy, you've lost out on dreams, you've lost out on opportunities, because this inside of you, like a part of you, is that, no, you can't do that. Don't even try it. You're just going to shame yourself. You've always can't do things. So you just have to say, rubbish. I'm moving forward. I'm not going to allow this happen. I'm taking control, but I'm kicking out this inner critic and putting in this positive me, this new me, or the me that's always been there. that hasn't been allowed to come forward. I want to flourish and have a good life.
And I think it's like everything, as you've mentioned before, Doc. It's you need that balance, because sometimes, like I said, the inner critic can tell you, yeah, you know what, go ahead and you can try pottery, but it may, don't get your hopes up, because we've seen your pottery you made in art class, and you know what I mean. But
Sure.
at the same time, this is kind of like, is this does this start early in life? Let's say, as you mentioned, like parents who will say, like, yeah, but that's not for you. You're not. You kind of have to celebrate. We all need little victories in life, I think, to push us forward.
Well,
Even as by golly, look at you, how good you made that bed. You know what I mean? Maybe a parent has to do that early in life.
Well, we need it. And a lot of parents, and I don't want to turn all parents negative, because some parents are just cautious or grew up themselves in an environment, but there are persons that put their kids down too, or try to control what they're doing, and then want them to go in a certain direction. Because a lot of persons even get into careers. I've seen this many times in my work as a psychologist, and just walking the road of life, that people are in a career that their parents push them into, and they may not even like it. They're just there. Now, at least in that case, that could have been a positive outcome for the person, that they did get a career maybe. But on the other hand, if it's a career you didn't want to be in, or you were afraid to try a different career, do something because your parents or persons told you, or you just did it on your own. There are people that kind of pick up this inner critic, and it can be a very devastating thing on their own. No, you can't, don't do it, give up. No, rubbish again. I just say, hey, live your dreams. Try to do things. You may not be a home run hitter all the time, but on the other hand, hey, if you have a dream, you want to do something, I'm a firm believer in trying to do things and silence that inner critic that's there. And I think people listening to us, or they're going to listen to us, whatever it might be, they're saying, I've had a lot of that. I've had some of that, or maybe going on right now. Now's the time to unleash yourself and say, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to be reasonable. Now, don't hear me wrong. I've given up, at least for now, on my NFL career, okay? But on the other hand, you still have to keep your mind going. You've got to keep your dreams going. Life really can be exciting and something you can really enjoy if you have dreams, if you're working at things. But if not, if you're just, no, I can't, no point in trying that, I'm where I am, and this is where I belong to be, can make life really dreary. And people that have a lot of dreary lives, it's due to how they're thinking and how they're controlled, not even by an outside person, but by this inner critic that over the year, negativity, that negative person within you that's taken over like another person completely. You're having this conversation all the time with someone who says, no, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, that doesn't sound like a good idea, you're going to fail if you try to do that. Boy, what a life to lead, because it's so negative, and that's not really what you want. You want to be saying, I'm going to try things, trying to try out my wings, and trying to be as successful as I can be. I want to do this, I know I can do it, and be realistic, but still have dreams. And every day, people that have dreams want to complete them. Their blood flow, their whole body, everything about them, their mind, they're just ready to go, and looking upon life as an exciting endeavor, not in this real negativity where you can't do it, quit trying, rubbish. They just don't do that. Be positive, move forward. Yeah, that's what.
And even if you grew up with your folks, like you said, for whatever reason, maybe that was their upbringing or whatever. That's not for you. That's not. You can't. Find people who have that mindset that I can do this. I could try this anyway. Whatever. And maybe you hang out with a bunch of good pottery people, and then that rubs off on you.
Yes, you're completely right. You want to be around people that are aspiring and moving forward in life. You want people that really they're living their dream. They're trying to live their dream. They're even if they're struggling and working and having a difficult time, there's that inner energy, that desire to do things. Yes, I can do it. I'm going to do that. And that really makes life really worthwhile. If you're there always saying, I can't do it, don't want to try that, this is where I deserve to be in life.
Yeah,
Nothing more.
that'll weigh on you.
Oh my goodness, it'll lead to a lot of depression, anxiety, and worry, and it won't lead to the enjoyment that you can have in life. Yeah, by living dreams.
He's Dr. John Braccio, deafening your inner critic. You can find out all about regional psychological services on the web, and a good doctor with us every single Tuesday about this time. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Doc, we're up on time. Thanks a lot.
Always a pleasure, buddy. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. 1320 WILS.